Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of On Point for today, the 26th day of July 2024. And of course, my name is Alexis Jeffers and I'm here once again for another edition of this show. Indeed, I am apologizing again for my absence last Friday, which was unavoidable. But I'm here this week, which is the good thing, and I'm here to impart some of the information that I would have brought with me to get to you. Indeed, as we get going with this program, let me say hello and greetings to all who are listening to Von Radio at this time. Of course, we have to start right here on the island of Nevis, and I usually start at the bottom of Zion Hill and come all the way around to St. James, St. Thomas Parish, into St. Paul, St. John's, and back around to St. George Parish as well, and all of the villages and communities in between or among all those different parishes. We say welcome to you. Of course, we want to shout up our brothers and sisters down there in St. Kitts who are normally tuned in as well, and we want to welcome them because, of course, St. Kitts is a part of the Federation, and we are one country when it's all said and done. So the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, I say good afternoon to everyone. Indeed, further afield, Statia, St. Martin, St. Bart's, Sabre, U.S. and British Virgin Islands, of course, Puerto Rico, the United States, the eastern seaboard, all across to the west, in California, Oregon, and Washington State, all those states that flank the western end of the United States. Of course, Hawaii, we do have citizens there as well as Alaska, of course, and indeed in Canada, Europe, all up and down the world, we do have citizens, and more so citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, that is, who are always in tune to Von Radio to get an idea or an update as to what is happening here on the island of Nevis or in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Indeed, more so these days because we're in the, well, we have just launched Culturama last night, but Culturama, in my opinion, it has been ongoing for some time now in terms of earlier this year until now. Yeah, because there have been some activities that have been held thus far leading up to the launch last night. We'll speak about that a bit more later in the program. And so at this time, let me just greet you and say to you, it is my pleasure to be in your company. Of course, when we start the program, we look at persons and families who are grieving at this time, and we just want to express our profound sympathies to all those who are in the bereaved column at this time. We also want to specifically mention, though, a family over there in the Nisbet settlement area, and I'm speaking about the family of Unique Isabella Richards, young little girl who would have passed over a week ago, or just about a week ago, under circumstances that were difficult, of course. Yes, when someone passes, whether young or old, it is always a difficult situation to embrace. So Patrice and the father of Unique, we normally call him Tattoo. If you ask me what his correct name is, all I can tell you, he is the son of Vincent Hobson down there at Bath Road. But I know him as Tattoo, and that is what I call him every time I meet him. Some people are very much fond of their nicknames, But Patrice, of course, we know her because she's a young lady over there in the Nisbet settlement area who have a small business as well. Makes pizza and burgers and sells drinks and that kind of thing. Very lovely lady and lovely business that she has there that services the entire island of Nevis, because I see people coming from Zion, from parts of Gingerland and Cotton Ground and Charlestown, coming over to save her goodies. And the reason why I mention that is because there are times when you go to the establishment and you'll see Unique there, and she's helping her mom and helping to prepare the pizzas, helping to sell some of the items that they would normally have on sale. A very vibrant young little girl. She passed away, like I said, just over a week ago. And indeed, I want to say, listen, when Unique stepped into the room seemed to light up, and she was the fun of the party. Very nice young lady in the making, and of course she was snuffed out in unusual circumstances, and I know I can say that for a fact that, of course, Patrice for sure is taking this one in the most difficult of ways, and it is certainly a challenging time for that family, challenging time for the parents. But I want to say to you, Patrice, that Unique, you were an absolutely good parent to Unique, and she looked up to you, and indeed you would have done your best over those 8 years. I would have loved to say she's around for a much longer time to come, but only God knows, and it's a difficult one to always express these feelings, but we do so with the knowledge that we cannot always say the right words, but we try our best to say the most comforting thing. But it's always difficult for a parent to lose a child, of course. Indeed, her schoolmates there at the VOJN primary school will certainly miss Unique as well, and the entire Newcastle area community would certainly miss her and the impact she would have had over her short life. I believe the funeral service is next Wednesday morning over there at the Combermere Methodist Church. Starts at 9 a.m. and of course those of us who can attend, let us go out and lend some support to this grieving family, which is no doubt going through some difficult times right now. And so may your soul rest in peace, and we will certainly lend our support to you and the entire family, Patrice, next Wednesday morning. Okay, indeed, anyone else who are in that particular state at this point in time, I want to say my profound sympathies to you as well. Indeed, when there is life, there is death, there are things happening. So in this particular moment in time, I want to shift quickly to all those who are celebrating at this time. Someone comes to mind, because I think I ran into her yesterday or last night sometime, and she would have mentioned today is her birthday. That is Molly Mills. She's here from the United States and over there in the Potworks area. Molly, happy birthday to you, and I certainly wish you all of the best for this particular celebration. I always say, Molly, celebrate as if it's the last. If you have $2, spend $1 on yourself. If you have 100, spend 50 on yourself. Just go on out and spend some money on yourself and enjoy what is there to be enjoyed on this your special day. And I wish you many, many more years of birthdays to come. And indeed, I believe yesterday was her son's birthday, Denrick Mills. I certainly would have sent off some greetings to him as well and wish him all the best yesterday. Birthdays are to be cherished these days. They always are to be cherished, but most of these days when you never know what can happen to you the next minute, the next hour, the next week, next month or next year. So enjoy them when they come along, okay? Let's get out of that and move on to something else. So everyone who was celebrating today, go on out and have some fun. Go on out and have a very good time for this your special day, okay? Well, as I said before, we are not in the middle of Culturama, but Culturama has been launched, officially launched, that is. And that was done last night with a bang. And when I say with a bang, they were they were what you call fireworks. There was a huge crowd up there at the cultural complex. I went to that opening ceremony. I decided to stay outside and just enjoy the environment outside and listen to what was going on inside, because the crowd was so thick. I told myself I might be better off staying outside and enjoy it from there, and I did enjoy myself, and everyone who went there would have enjoyed themselves. Once that was done, they went across to the cultural village, or the village, to have more fun as well too. Some historic things happened last night, and of course the government will have their press release and the likes. But one of the things that I want to mention is that the cultural complex, as you know it is still the cultural complex, but it was renamed last night to the NIDAX Cultural Complex. So that is what, and let me say this, because there are times when names are put on roads or streets and buildings, and sometimes we don't give those landmarks their official name. So most times we're accustomed to saying the cultural complex, and I'm sure people will continue saying that. But of course, let us try to give it the right or the correct name by saying the NIDAC's Cultural Complex, because that is what it's now called, yeah? And of course, that is where all of those cultural activities such as the Queen Show, Calypso Show, Talented Teen, swimsuit competition and the likes are held. They've done a marvelous job to do some refurbishing of that particular facility over the last couple of months, and it has been completed on time so that we can have that ambience to enjoy throughout this our historic cultural celebration, which of course, and all of us must know at this point in time, this is the 50th anniversary of Culturama, and it has started off with a certain type of vibe that tells me that this is going to be one for the history books. So last night we went out to enjoy ourselves there at the cultural complex and village, and indeed the activities continue. Of course, I must say at this point in time, this weekend here in Nevis will be a historic one as well too. There are quite a number of things happening, and it will be one that you will want to go out and enjoy. Yes, we have down there at the waterfront tomorrow morning at about 11 o'clock, we'll have the Empire Sports Club aquatic sporting event or extravaganza, which include a greasy pole. It also will have swimming races, diving competition. They said they'll have children games. They'll have lots of food and music right down there at the Charlestown waterfront. So at 11 a.m. tomorrow, that's the place to be. But before we get to tomorrow, there is an advert that is being played here on the radio station on numerous occasions about the show that will be held up there at 869 this evening. That is that sports bar up there in Gingerland, in the vicinity of the Delta gas station that is there. If you know where the Gingerland Secondary School is, you can't miss it. If you know where Best Buy is, you can't miss this place. There is where you'll go this evening at 9 p.m. All of those stalwarts in Calypso who would have done a remarkable job in keeping the cultural art form alive will be there tonight. I'm talking about Beholder the Meek. I'm talking about Flamingo, this and that, the Reigning King, Hollywood, Astro, and you can go on and on and on. I think there are about in excess of 10 Calypsonians who would be there, I believe. But once they've been around for the 49 years, 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, whatever the case might be, they'll be up there this evening performing, and it should be a show not to be missed. I think one of the tagline that has been used is that you'll never see a show like this again, because at the, let's say we were to celebrate 100 years in the future, many of us who are alive today will not be around, and that goes without saying. Yeah, so if someone is going to perform tonight, that might be the only time you see them at this particular type of show. So I'm saying to us, let us go out and enjoy in our numbers. So it starts at 9 p.m. and it goes on until the show is done. So it should be a wonderful evening. The weather is looking quite nice so far, and I believe we'll have some cooperation from the weather later so that the show goes on and without any interruption. Okay, so we move from tonight. We have talked about the aquatic sports down there at the waterfront tomorrow, and indeed tomorrow as well down there in the Malcolm Gishard Park, the young people's thing will be on. They call it Tropics, yeah? Whatever it is, everyone out there who normally would patronize that particular type of activity will know it's on tomorrow, so go on out and have fun. I'm saying that because people are on the island and they're looking for places to go. They want to partake in what is happening out there. So I'm just encouraging all of us to go out and enjoy ourselves. So down there tomorrow at the Malcolm Gishard Park, they have what is called Tropics. And then you'll come back to the Malcolm Gishard Park, recreational park that is, on Monday the 29th of July. And of course, there will be a cocktail which would be put on by the CCM-led Nevis Island Administration down there at the Malcolm Gishard Park. You'll have music by Smooth Vibes Band, And indeed, the activity starts at 5 p.m. and goes to 7:30 p.m. They say to dress elegantly. So I don't know what that means. It means dress up good. Come looking nice, okay? And indeed, they'll have drinks, they'll have whatever is normally served at a cocktail. But this is a chance to come and mix and mingle, you know? Catch up with your old friends, say hello to new friends that you'll probably meet. And of course, it will be a lot of good vibes down there on the 29th, Monday the 29th of July, down there at the Malcolm Gishard Park. I'm inviting one and all. They didn't put a cap on the numbers. So it therefore means, once you're hearing this from me, once you've seen the advertisement of the flyer that is out there, you are invited. That is your invitation to come. So come on down there on Monday to enjoy yourselves. Okay? And then, of course, we move to Wednesday the 31st of July. I'm going through these things because I am giving persons a chance to, understand what is happening out there and to make sure that they are participating in these activities. Okay, so on Wednesday the 31st of July, all roads lead to the north of the island. And when I say the north of the island, to Herbert Beach. On Wednesday, we'll have what is dubbed Homecoming Celebration. And I believe before I speak about it, maybe I should just go ahead and play the ad for that particular event just now, so you'll get an idea as to what is happening, and I'll build on the ad when it's done, so that you can get a sense as to the magnitude of this particular activity when it's held there on the 31st of July. So if my engineer can help me with that, okay.
The summer just got hotter with the biggest homecoming party for Culturama 50. Herbert's Beach is the place to be on Wednesday, July 31st to mix and mingle with citizens, residents, and visitors as we get the vibes going for this year's grand Culturama celebrations. The night of activities will get started at 7 p.m. and we'll see the final Calypso tent for Culturama 24. This is your last chance to lend your support to your favorite Kaisonian, who would be vying for the Senior Calypso Monarch on Friday, 2nd August. Appearances by Miss Culture Queen contestants, 10 of Nevis's finest artisan vendors displaying and selling their locally made products. Musical entertainment will be provided by String Band, Big Drum, Collision Band, DJ Zimba, and DJ Lalbo. A number of food stalls will be there to ensure that your appetite for food and drinks are satisfied. Plus, the highlight of the evening will be a big bingo where 5,000 easy dollars could be won. First game will be $2,000, the second game $3,000. Bingo cards will be just $100 each. All of this fun and excitement is absolutely free, as this is our way of saying welcome home. It will also be a chance for you to refresh, reconnect, recharge, and reflex as we celebrate culture. Embrace our history for Culturama 50. See you at Herbert's Beach on Wednesday, 31st July.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, so that is July 31st down there at Herbert Beach. We say we are starting at 7 p.m., but of course with the preparations that will be made, music will be down there well in advance of that time, because we are hoping to be ready when 7 o'clock rolls around. What we are saying though is that we'll have the finalists, the Senior Calypso finalists down there, to give us one last Calypso tent before the big night on August 2nd, Friday, August 2nd. That is the night of the Calypso, Senior Calypso show. And indeed, we're hoping to have a few of the Miss Culture Queen contestants there to bring greetings to those who are coming back home or who would have come back home. Make that pitch for you to come and see them on the 4th of August for their show there in the cultural complex. Indeed, I have had commitments already from the Honeybee String Band. You know, those guys play some good string band music. Indeed, we're hoping to have the Sugar Hill String Band as well. Of course, we'll also have the Rollins Big Drum and Masquerade. On top of that, we'll also have the Collision Band, which is for the young people, they say. It's a band out of St. Kitts that plays excellent music, so they are coming as well. We'll also have those artisan vendors who will be coming to showcase what they produce and have them for sale as well. So I've had commitments from some of the artisan vendors, such as Khadijah Griffin. She has a business called the Craft Bar. She'll show you what she's producing when she comes. Maxine will be selling and displaying her candle wishes. Catherine have what is called enchanting craft and jewelry. Chloe Dorr, delicious treats by Chloe. Of course, Denver will have her Denver's craft. Gwyneth Craft. Kiki, V Squared. Those of you out there who know these artisan vendors and producers, you would know what I'm talking about. Shani will come with her Fins and Things. Monique, of course, will come with her Kimoni brand, selling soap and lotion and those kind of things. Shanil, of course, will have her Shan's Sweets and Treats, or Shan's Sweet Sweets. So those are things like cookies, banana bread, you know, all those sweet stuff that, you know, most of you like out there. So these things will be on sale down there. We'll have a section, you know, earmarked for the artisan vendors on their tent and their tables with their stuff. Hot sauce and all those kind of things will be down there on sale. So you'll come down and see what is being produced locally and patronize the vendors as well. Of course, we'll have bars selling their usual drinks of brewery stuff, and also you know, the barbecue stuff, fish and grilled chicken and goat water. All of those things will be sold down there on Wednesday evening. Now, the ad say all this is free. It means that you don't have to pay to enter Herbert Beach, and parking is free, the air is free, the environment is free, but of course the things that are there on sale for food and so forth, those you'll pay for, of course, because indeed the music has to be paid for and the likes. Then of course there is a big bingo on that night for $5,000. You have that opportunity to win $5,000. First prize will be, or first game will be $2,000. Second game would be $3,000. And so that is what it would be like on Wednesday the 31st of July. We call it homecoming celebration. And of course, if you get off of the plane in St. Kitts from England, say what, about 4 o'clock, and you get to Nevis by 5:30, you can go home, drop off your bags and come down to the beach, or you can tell your family members to take those bags home and come straight. Or if you're here on the island already, start to make your plans. The road is good, you have no complaints, and we're down there fixing up the place, cleaning up the place, and of course by early next week all of the infrastructure will be in place. Lights and buntings and bars and all those things will be in place by the time you get there come Wednesday evening. So we're looking to have a grand time down there, and we're looking for your support, and we're looking for all of the support you can give to all of the artisan vendors and what you call it, the bar operators, and of course the Calypsonians will be coming there to give you at least a treat and a feel of what they will be presenting come Friday the 2nd of August there at the cultural complex. So that is Wednesday the 31st. But we are not stopping there, because of course the usual activity we'll have there. Normally we have just this one activity at Herbert Beach, which is called the Herbert Beach Affair. This year we are twinning that with the homecoming celebration, of course, which is on the 31st. But I will recall, I will remind most persons out there who have been following what we've been doing. We did that homecoming celebration back in 2014 when we celebrated the 40th anniversary of Culturama. So we decided to bring it back this year, for this year at least, to see what we can do to add some fun and frolic to the Culturama. But I was speaking about Herbert Beach Affair. Yes, that would be on the 5th of August. And let me say this, we're going for 18 hours non-stop. We start at 12 noon on August 5th, we go to 12 midnight, and then we're moving onward to 6 o'clock, 6 a.m. on August 6th. So that is 18 hours of non-stop action over there at Herbert Beach. And we have music, we have food, we have drinks, we have everything that is required to keep you going throughout the day, into the night and beyond. Okay, in terms of music, we have the Small Axe Band, we have the Grandmasters, we have we also have Garlic and the Upper Level Band. We have Casanova Band. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Casanova Band. So those 4 big bands will be there. We'll have DJs as well. SG Presidential. Those young people out there who are familiar with that name and that DJ and that sound system. Of course, all of us are familiar with DJ Zimba, the Rhythm King. We're familiar with DJ Lalbo as well, of Wreck Life fame. So we have some good DJs. We'll be adding as we go because, of course, everybody want to come to Herbert Beach to play. Of course, we have to find the money to pay them. But everybody would want to come there and play, I'm sure. But those are the systems and bands that we have already earmarked to come there. And I'm telling you, Garlic is telling me that he didn't get enough time to perform down there at the Mango Festival. So he got, what, about 15 or 20 minutes, if so much? So he said he wanted to hold 2 hours or more for Herbert Beach Affair. I tell him the stage is his, so he'll come and perform. Grandmasters, of course, always do an excellent job when they come. Marvelous job. Very good band. Small Axe have been there from the get-go, and Small Axe always call up and say, I'm ready to come. Are we coming? I say, yes, you're coming, and they're coming. Yeah? And indeed, the Casanova Band is making at least some comeback this year for Culturama 50. The original players are together again, and they want to come down and let you know that they still have the vibes, they still have the pep, and they still have all that it takes to give you a good show come August 5th. And of course the DJs are ready to go as well. Now in terms of the additional entertainment, of course, we'll have kayak racing. We'll also have, well, Dr. Claude Nisbet have said that he's going to look for a wild pig and grease it up, so he'll have a greasy pig. So anybody who can catch a greasy wild pig, then of course they'll get some cash prizes for that. So he's working on that. So he first have to find that wild pig and then bring it down and grease it up for that to take place. Indeed, we're going to put the greasy pole back in place and have that ready as well for persons who want to come down and be adventurous and go on the greasy pole. And then of course there'll be children activities as well to keep the children, you know, occupied and the likes. Now at 6 a.m. on the 6th of August, we'll have what we call an aerobic session by Nevis's #1 exercise guru, and that is Mr. Macefield Nisbet. He's coming at 6 a.m. because, like I said, we're going down to 6 a.m. with the hope that those booth owners would have a backup crew at home to prepare breakfast to come down to sell breakfast as well. So you'll get your breakfast at Herbert Beach on the 6th of August. And of course, while you're there and you want to partake in the exercise session, that will be put on by Macefield Nisbet. He'll be there. You want to go in the ocean and take a swim, the ocean is there, wide as ever. You can take advantage of that. So whatever you want to do, it's all up to you. But Herbert Beach will be there for you to enjoy. And indeed, speaking of Herbert Beach, I want you to keep something in mind when you come down there. Those lands are for your enjoyment and entertainment. They belong to you, the people of Nevis. All of us have a stake in those lands. The history behind those lands, for those who are not familiar, of course, they were previously owned by someone else who is not the government. And of course, there have been so many talk about investments being done down there, hotel being built and all sorts of things. And of course, those never happened. Those investments never came to fruition. So at least the government, in its wisdom, would have seen the opportunity while those things were being touted to come, and while there were difficulties with the land and its ownership, and where there was a particular landowner who had she already had over 600 acres of lands here in Nevis, also wanted to purchase those lands. The government decided, well, the people of Nevis should not be shut out of those lands in any way. We should have access to them. We should have those lands for future generations to enjoy, and that is why we would have acquired those lands at Herbert Beach. Well, what those lands which are dubbed or called Herbert Beach lands. It's just about 13.9 acres of land, just about 14 acres of lands, and I believe that we would have done something that is commendable as a government to ensure that those lands go into the land stock of the government and people of Nevis, and so we have access to those lands. And I love to see how people go down there and enjoy those lands in terms of going down, having a swim, going down and having their little picnic and barbecue session and so forth. And it is there for everybody, citizens, residents, visitors to enjoy. And so I am so pleased with the efforts of the government to ensure that we got possession of those lands so we can have Herbert Beach, so that you can party and frolic, so that you can sit and relax, so that you can have any sort of enjoyment down there as you so desire. And irrespective of what you may hear, that was an important acquisition, and one that I believe for generations to come, all those generations to come will be happy that the concerned citizens movement in government would have put people first and put the interests of the island of Nevis first in acquiring those lands. So they're there to enjoy, and we're going to enjoy ourselves down there for those two activities on the 31st of July and also the 5th going into the 6th of August. Okay, so those are the two activities that we are planning and having to make sure that we are playing our part and ensuring that Culturama 50 turns out to be as historic as it should be and must be. Yes? And so people have come. People are on the island already, and I want to welcome all those who are here, citizens and visitors who have come thus far. And I will tell you that when you drive throughout the island of Nevis, when you go to different bars, when you go to different activities and functions, you're running into different persons every day. I've run into persons who have come from Statia already. I've run into persons who have come from Saba. I've run into persons who have come from Aruba. I've run into persons who have come from French and Dutch St. Martin. Persons who have come from the British Virgin Islands. People who would have come from St. Thomas, St. John, St. Croix, the U.S. Virgin Islands. I've run into those persons. And before I go any further, I want to say that many of them have been commending the concerned citizens movement in government to ensure they have that access or that airlift to Nevis out of St. Croix, out of St. Thomas. And of course, if you're coming from St. John's, you have to come over to St. Thomas to get out of St. Thomas to Nevis. But those persons from the U.S. Virgin Islands are very pleased with the access that they have this time around to ensure that they can come home and not have to go from point A to point C to point D and all around the globe to get here. So you have that direct flight now out of St. Croix into Van Sammer International Airport. We have had constantly thus far the connection out of St. Thomas into Nevis, and the Virgin Islands is now being served in such a way where citizens, visitors can come directly into Nevis, and no better time for them to come than right now, which is Culturama 50, and they're already here. I've seen them, spoken to them, and they're happy. Yeah, and of course I've bumped into a few persons from Puerto Rico. Don't talk about the United States. Even last night someone tapped me on my shoulder. Hey Zook, look around. Someone from New York. So many people are here from New York already. New York, North Carolina, Atlanta, Florida, throughout the whole of Florida, and many more are going to come tomorrow, all across the Midwest, Texas, even up into Ohio and those states. People are now here on the island and enjoying themselves. Over on the west coast of the United States, quite a number of persons are here already, and more to come, and go up into Canada, Toronto, all over. I've run into so many people. It is a joy to say hello and welcome home. Good to see you. Some persons I haven't seen for many years, but it is good to see everyone coming here. I want everyone to stay safe. And let me say this to our drivers on the road, those who live here. Be courteous to some of the persons who are driving here for the first time. Those who are not accustomed to driving on the left-hand side of the road, but they're driving normally on the right hand side, it will be an adjustment for them. Be patient with the persons on the island main road. At nights, you have your lights, please dim them so that persons can see where they're going, because some persons have added extra light, additional lights on their vehicles. I don't know what for, but anyway, those are sometimes, I would say, a nuisance to those of us who drive on the road here regularly, much less those who come home from abroad and who are feeling their way around. We don't want any accidents, we don't want to lose anyone, we don't want anyone to be injured. So I'm asking all drivers to be courteous on the road during the day and in the evening. There's no need to blaze any speed anywhere on the island of Nevis. The island is small already. Take your time, you'll get there in one piece, and that's what we want to happen. So be respectful and courteous to those who are using the road. So I say welcome, and I want those who are on their way to get here safely. I have family members who are coming home as well. I want them to get here safely, and everyone else get here safely, so that we can have one big party here on the island of Nevis, because 50 Culturama 50 has been spoken about for the whole of this year, even last year, but more so this year. And we're saying we are ready to welcome the world. We are ready to welcome all of our citizens, all of our visitors. So come home and have fun. So that is what is going to happen over the next couple of days here. And indeed, it has started off, like I said last night, with a bang. Fireworks and everything up there at the complex. And it's going to continue in that vein, moving into the next couple of days. Of course, we'll have next week, Poet in the Square every day. We'll also have next Friday, I believe it is, the Agriculture, the Ministry and Department of Agriculture Fruit Festival down there at the Malcolm Gishard Park. You'll also have next weekend as well, next Saturday, that huge food fair that is normally held, a part of Culturama. But before you get to that, of course, Friday night, I did mention before, is the Senior Calypso Show up there at the finals, up there at the Cultural Complex. And indeed, on the Saturday evening, the 3rd, there's the Emancipation Concert that will be held up there at the village, Cultural Village as well. And Sunday evening would be the Miss Culture Queen Show up there at the complex. So you follow the calendar of activities that are planned and keep abreast of that. I cannot tell you everything this afternoon. All I know, every day, starting in the morning to in the evening, late to the night, into the next morning, and into the next day, there are activities here on the island of Nevis to enjoy. So go on out to and enjoy those as well. And while you're here as well, take a drive around the island of Nevis. You'd have heard many things being said about Nevis and all of the negatives about Nevis. But now that you have come, your eyes will not fool you one bit. You will end up saying those who have been talking must have been lying. Because your eyes will not fool you. Because what you see is what is exactly what has happened and is happening here on the island of Nevis. You know, there are persons who would communicate to people in a somewhat disrespectful way. As if, well, let me say disrespectful and deceptive way. Because they would say things not knowing that you'll get a chance to see for yourself. And that is why we in the CCM, we try our very best to be honest, to be respectful, and to communicate and convey what we are saying in such a way that when it is all put to the test, you would understand there was truth behind what we have been saying. We've been talking about roads, we have been talking about housing, we've been talking about all sorts of infrastructural development here on the island of Nevis. So I want to give the visitors who have come, once you have transportation, I want you to put something to the test, a few things to the test. Drive all the roads in Nevis. As a matter of fact, at some point while you're here, do this. Start driving from down there where the old Treasury was, which is now the Tourism Authority building. Drive into Bath, and then when you drive into Bath, you're going to go make a left right there by the community center over there at Bath, and just keep driving up that road, that back road. And when you get up to where the old TBN facility or old TBN buildings are, you make a right and go through farms and come up there by, what do you call it, Tropic Ice. and keep coming up to the Long Point Road, make a right, keep going down towards the, what do you call it there, the Mundo track, and then take that back road and go all the way up to Brown Hill. Right there where the stadium is, basketball court. Instead of going left or right, just keep going up that hill. I think they call it Malcolm Hill. Drive up that hill. Drive into Montpelier, and when you pass Montpelier Hotel, you'll come to an intersection where you can go either left or right. Keep going right and go into Cox. And if you want to stop by Passion Bar, they sell some good food and drinks down there. Stop there and refresh yourself. And then you can drive through Beaumont and come through, Cleggott. And when you come to that intersection that takes you down to Balpash or up to Chicken Stone, you can either go left or right. I would say, take a left, come up to the Island Main Road, and you can come straight along the Island Main Road. And if you don't want to do that, you can take a right and go down to Balpasha and come up through Maynard's Ground and around to, Chapel Alley, right there by the Methodist Church. Then you make a right, and if you want to go up Old Manor, go to the back up there in Zetlands and come to the top of Rollins and come down Hard Time. Come along the main road and head over to Zion, go down to Zion, right there where the old mailbox is, and where the old Zion School was. Go down that road, see all of the development that has taken place down there. They have transformed, or we have transformed that area from a barren land, so to speak, and turned it into a nice residential area with beautiful views of Montserrat and Antigua and the likes. Well, you come out of that and come into Butlers, drive through the whole of Butlers, go down into Maddens as well. Check out that housing development down there. It's called Cedar View Housing Development, phase 1, 2, and on to phase 3 now. Come out of that and keep going on the Island Main Road. You come down to Nisbet Plantation, get to the Pottery. Beautiful roads down there. You can take a left and go up to VOJ and Playfield, and beyond that, beyond VOJ and school as well, and go up to what we call University Heights. Middle income housing up there that all people, I'm talking about our young men and young women here on Nevis, live up there, have some of the best views on Nevis, and paid just $1 per square foot for land up there. We had a program that we said we wanted our brightest persons, not necessarily brightest persons, but persons who would have graduated from a 4-year university or college. And we said to them, listen, we want you to stay here to help to build the island of Nevis. And we want to make sure that you are comfortable in that you are not fighting to pay some exorbitant mortgage anywhere. We want you to be comfortable so that you can stay here, build your family, build your career, and build the island of Nevis. And so we have built those houses up there. And those persons who are living there are contributing, whether in the private sector or in the public sector. But they have a home of their own. And that is the foresight and the vision of the CCM in government. So you go up there and have a look at those houses. You come out of up there and you come down to Newcastle. You'll pass the Newcastle police station. Stop there and have a look, and you can cast your mind back to, let's say, prior to 2016, what that facility was like. An old, rundown, dilapidated facility. As a matter of fact, I am reminded just a while ago by myself that in 2016 the police officers who were housed there would have abandoned that old facility. One evening I was passing there, and when I look at the facility, no light were on, the lights were out, and I inquired, and I understood then that the policemen would have abandoned the facility. Imagine that. They abandoned it, and as the representative of St. James at that time, I told myself there's no way we can have or lose a police station from the community of Newcastle. It is an important facility. It plays a role in crime fighting, and also making sure there is some connection with the police and the community, and that everyone over there feels safe and protected as a result. So we went about the reconstruction of that facility. We have heard all kinds of things. All sorts of things being said. One thing that cannot be said is that we have not looked after the police in the island of Nevis, and one thing that cannot be said is that that is not the best police station in the Eastern Caribbean, because it is one of the best. And when you pass it, you feel like you're in some other jurisdiction, but you're right there in Newcastle, you're right there in Nevis. And that's what we do for the police. You move along from that and you go up Shaw's Road. You can go up to Mount Nevis, have a look at one of the best properties here on the island of Nevis. Keep driving back down Shaw's Road and past the Van Sammer International Airport. I'll say to you, soon and very soon we'll have the reconstruction, renovation, the expansion of the Van Sammer International Airport. We want someday for our citizens and our visitors to get on a plane in Miami and land right there at the Van Sammer International Airport. So the plans are in place. We are doing all of the design work, and at some point in the very near future you'll hear more about that. So you move on from there and drive that beautiful surface we call Cattle Lang Part, come across, come down into Wally, and when you get down there, voila, you see that beautiful facility called the Wally Water Taxi Facility, a facility that has transformed commerce between the island of St. Kitts and Nevis. People come and go, people go and come. And as a matter of fact, the numbers speak for themselves, because up to this point in time, I will say to those of you who are not familiar, in excess of 100,000 passengers have passed through that facility thus far this year. And more will pass this weekend because of that huge event that will be held down there at the Malcolm Gishal Park. What it is, the Tropics. So that facility is playing its part in ensuring that there is movement, rapid movement between the islands of St. Kitts and Nevis, and indeed it has been one of those major infrastructural development that is creating and generating revenue for everyone who have some connection to that facility. NASPA, taxi operators, boat operators, restaurateurs, bars, facilities where people stay. I'm talking about guest house, hotels, whatever the case might be. People go to work to earn a living back and forth, St. Kitts and Nevis. So it is one of those major developments that you don't hear a lot about, but it was being knocked time and time again. But of course, over time, we have been able to bring it to the point where it is serving its purpose, and certainly making sure that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis can move at an instant notice. We call it Uber on water. That's what we call those water taxi over there. They're Uber on water. You pick up the phone and you can be over in St. Kitts within a few minutes. They're always available to you on demand. So keep on driving that beautiful road, take you all the way to Cotton Ground and beyond. And if you want to take a trip up that little road there by the roundabout there at Cotton Ground, you can go up there and take a trip through Kuhun Housing Development and see what housing development is like here on the island of Nevis. All of these housing developments that were done by the Concerned Citizens Movement, they have transformed and revolutionized housing here on the island of Nevis. Of course, you don't have to stay there. You can go through Barnesgate. Those roads were done some years ago, so you can make your way all the way around, and then you can come up the bypass road there at Pennies, and then when you get to the top of Craddock Road, you can have a look at that housing development, drive down Craddock Road back to the base, and you're back in town again, and you can drive all around Charlestown if you so desire. But once you have transportation, I spend some time because I want you to go and have a look, because what you've been hearing is not true. You've been hearing a lot of deception, a lot of deceptive things being said, a lot of lies being spewed, but Nevis is one of those shining jewels that, listen, you have to be proud of your island, you have to be proud of your government, and you have to be proud of the people of Nevis, because all of us work in a collective way to make sure this island realize some development, some growth, and it is kept in such a way that we can pass on a legacy to all those who would come after us. So Nevis is nice. Nevis is one of the best places on earth, and of course we want, when you travel abroad, you can say the same thing when you leave from your destination to come here. You can say you're going to paradise, and then when it's all said and done, when you have conversation with persons out there, you can certainly tell them some of the best things about Nevis. As a matter of fact, you know, we had some movies that were filmed here on the island of Nevis, and people are now flocking to the island of Nevis because of what they've seen in the movie industry out there. People have been viewing these movies and they're asking, where was that where was that production done? And they've been told it's Nevis. Where is Nevis? In the Caribbean. Go and search it. They research and they come, and they've been coming. and more will come. And we continue to improve the infrastructure here on the island of Nevis. So when they come, just what they hear about Nevis is what they'll see when they get here. So I am proud of this place, and all of us should be proud, and all of us should be happy as to the development that has taken place here. We have come a long way in the right direction. No if, no but, maybe about that. I am old enough to remember what things were like then. We had difficulties with water. We had difficulties with electricity. We had difficulties getting to send kits. We had difficulties sourcing various things. It's not that way now. All I can tell you is that water, as they say sometimes, water a bus pipe right now. Because you go home, turn on your tap, water is there. You go home, you flick your switch, electricity is there. These things are so standard and so much expected of us that we make sure they're available to you when they should be available. And so I am happy that we have been able to do the best we can as a government with limited resources, of course, because if we had the millions and the billions that were generated through the sale of our passports here on the island of Nevis, we would have been able to move this island forward in leaps and bounds. But you know, there's a saying, little is much. Little is much. We have taken little and have made much of it in terms of ensuring that our roads are good, in terms of our water infrastructure is good, in terms of our electricity that is reliable, in terms of our schools, they are being repaired and kept in good condition so our children can learn and the results are there to show. In terms of our healthcare system, it is the best that it can be at this point in time. In terms of all of the other activities that our government should are mandated to do, in terms of the commercial activities, in terms of what you call it now, in terms of our social programs, all of those are intact, and it is because the government has taken little and have made much with it, and have done so much with it that our citizens are proud of their island and proud of the effort of this government. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you're here now. This is the time for you to go on out and well, you can do all of the things you want to have done, but I want you to go out and reconnect, I mean, with all those friends and families that you may have lost some ties with. You can go on out and reestablish all sorts of relationship. You can go out and do the things that are necessary to ensure that once you leave this homecoming celebration, once you leave this homecoming celebration, you can say that you would have reestablished relationship. You can say that you have rediscovered certain things as well. You can say that you have rekindled, or you can also say that you have regained certain things as well, whatever it is. I mean, and then at the end of it, you can all rejoice and say we had a wonderful time. And you know what? Maybe you can remarry as well too, right here on the island of Nevis, down there in the hot springs, down at Bath, hot springs. You can go down and have a celebration and remarry down there. You're married already? Just say you have a renewal of your vows right down there at the hot springs, you know, so that you can have that for posterity. That the ambience there is so nice and so good, so you can go ahead and do that. I'm just being, you know, well, whatever. It's just the type of thinking in my head that, you know, this is really a time for us to have, you know, a really good time, you know, and to enjoy Culturama 50. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think I have just a few minutes left, but I just came here to ensure that we got the message out about those two activities over there at Herbert Beach, and I will not stop in admonishing you, asking you, beseeching you to come out and have a good time. Wherever anything else is held, go and have a good time, but more so, come to Herbert Beach, come August 31st, 7 p.m. You'll have music, you'll have fun, you'll have camaraderie, and you'll have a chance to, you know, have conversations, you know, and listen to some good calypso on that night. And then, of course, after that, there are other activities in between the time when you come back to Herbert Beach on the 5th of August to have celebration of Herbert Beach Affair 2024. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we have things to do. We have places you can go. You have a lot of enjoyment out there. Go on out and enjoy. I think that is just about what I had for today. But I want to just at least play one more time before I leave that ad for the 31st, so that it is a part of the program, and anyone who listens to this program or view this program at a later time between now and then can be reminded of it, so we can have a wonderful time over there at Herbert Beach. So the engineer, you ready? Okay, thank you.
The summer just got hotter with the biggest homecoming party for Culturama 50. Herbert's Beach is the place to be on Wednesday, July 31st to mix and mingle with citizens, residents, and visitors as we get the vibes going for this year's grand Culturama celebrations. The night of activities will get started at 7 p.m. and we'll see the final Calypso tent for Culturama 24. This is your last chance to lend your support to your favorite Kaisonian, who would be vying for the Senior Calypso Monarch on Friday, 2nd August. Appearances by Miss Culture Queen contestants, 10 of Nevis's finest artisan vendors displaying and selling their locally made products. Musical entertainment will be provided by String Band, Big Drum, Collision Band, DJ Zimba, and DJ Lalbo. A number of food stalls will be there to ensure that your appetite for food and drinks are satisfied. Plus, the highlight of the evening will be a big bingo where 5,000 easy dollars could be won. First game will be $2,000, the second game $3,000. Bingo cards will be just $100 each. All of this fun and excitement is absolutely free, as this is our way of saying welcome home. It will also be a chance for you to refresh, reconnect, recharge, and reflex as we celebrate culture. Embrace our history for Culturama 50. See you at Herbert's Beach on Wednesday, 31st July.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So, what else can I say? The ad is a very nice ad, and thanks to Von Radio for the production on that one. That was very nice, yeah? Okay, so let me go ahead and wrap up now. I think it's time to get out of here. I'm getting out a minute or two early, but that's okay. We have achieved our objective for this afternoon. So I want to end by inviting everyone up to 869 this evening. For that massive, that's a wonderful and classy Calypso show that will be there at 9 p.m. this evening. The more the merrier, and the Calypsonians are looking for your support. So come on out. Those of you who are already here, if you're hearing me from St. Kitts, get on the boat and come over and listen to some of our Nevis stalwarts in Calypso, who would have done a marvelous job to keep the art form alive here on the island of Nevis. So, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it has been my pleasure being here this afternoon. Those of you who have a chance to can, look at this particular production on YouTube later. And of course, stay tuned to Von Radio for all of the programming that takes place here. This is where you would want to be for the whole of Culturama, because they've been doing an excellent job so far and will do an even better job going into the new week as more things begin to happen here on the island of Nevis. So stay tuned to 860 AM, 93.7 FM for the best in programming when it comes to informing you about Culturama 50. So that is my quota for this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. It was indeed my pleasure being here. I want you to go on out and be safe for Culturama. Don't drink and drive. Don't drive and drink. If you have to drive and you're drinking, well, let someone else do the driving. We want you to stay safe. We want you to be available to us, to your family, to continue to provide for your family and continue to develop the island of Nevis. So we want you to be alive. Stay alive. Don't drive. Don't drink and drive. There are a lot of slogans out there that you can listen to, adhere to, so as to ensure I am impressing that because I've seen a couple of accidents thus far and I don't want to see any more. Okay, so that being said, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. If you go to church on Sunday, go out and serve your God on Sunday. If you go on Saturday, do likewise. And I want you to have yourself a wonderful weekend. May God continue to bless you. May God continue to bless the island of Nevis. And with that being said, have a wonderful weekend and stay safe and have a good time for Culturama 50.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect